Today's topic. I think it is absolutely ridiculous that we allow 18-year-olds to take huge student loans to go to university. I know you weren't expecting all that, right? That was a pretty long topic.
I am mad at it.
It's something I've been thinking about for a long time. I remember writing about this like 6 years ago.
Why?
I'm 30 now, and a lot of my friends from high school who went to university, they're still paying off their debt and struggling with it.
Absolutely.
Student debt, and the worst part is most of them don't work in any fields related to the major that they took.
That is correct.
Now, a lot of you at home are going to say, should have chosen a better major. And I think we all agree, a lot of people picked stupid majors, whatever.
But you're 18. What do you expect?
That's the thing. That's the thing. You're 18. In a lot of places, you're not even legal enough to drink. Because they're like, you can't handle the toxic effects. But you're sensible enough to make a decision to take on $50,000 worth of debt. That's like a down payment for a really nice house in a lot of places. Like, I'm confused.
My down payment for my condo was not that much.
Is that right? Ain't it crazy?
That's up, bro. That down payment for the condo.
And then add the interest.
The down payment.
Hold up. Part those hands and just talk to me calmly.
For the condo.
All right.
Was not that much.
And it's frightening because it's not even just a thing of like people making wrong choices or they're too young. It's also like societal pressure. The pressure you have coming out of high school to go to university and to pick something and to do it is wild.
Yes.
Everyone's pushing you. Your guidance counselors are pushing you. Your parents are pushing you. Your friends in society are telling you that's the next logical step. So a lot of people just go through with it thinking, all right. And most of them are like, I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'm going to choose psychology because I like how people think or whatever. And then they all drop out, right? I saw some crazy numbers, man. Let me see if I can pull this up. You ready for this? 70% of finance majors regret their choice.
Of course.
71% of physics majors wish they could go back in time. 71% of social worker majors said they regretted their area of studies. And the sources are payscale and cron.com. I'll put a link in the description below so you can see. That was the case for a lot of the people that I knew around me. And 1/3 of university students end up switching majors at some point. Now, again, I'll bet that's not always linked to you regretting your choice or whatever. And this is how not only does high school fail you, but it also is complicit in this. And the crazy thing is that schools are incentivized by how many students they send off to university. So it's in their best interest not to teach you skills to be an independent adult because they just want to funnel you down there. My guidance counselor pushed me towards that even though I didn't want to go. I remember going to orientation day and I just sat in class and I fell asleep and I was like, nigga, if I'm falling asleep on orientation, I was knocked out. I'm like, I can't make it. So I said, I'm not doing it. And I remember everyone looking at me like I was crazy. And I was like, y'all do your thing. I'll do my thing. It is what it is. But that's how school is complicit in failing. And then there's the government. I mean, the government made student loans you can't file bankruptcy and get rid of them. It's like one of the few loans in life where there's no way to get out of it. It's going to follow you forever. So they have given this loan, right? They'll forgive debts of bankers. They'll forgive debts of a whole bunch of people when they file bankruptcy. Right. But to an 18-year-old who does this just coming out of his mom's basement, apparently that loan cannot be forgiven.
They forgave people that fraud in the government, but they're not going to forgive. You know what I mean?
Bro,
people that sold a whole bunch of money in the government, they forgave them, but not 18-year-olds that don't know what to do with life. Like these people knew exactly what the hell they was doing.
Yeah. It really is a shameful system that's in place. And I think people have been so used to it for so long, they're just like, can just embrace it. But it's not because we've had it for so long that it's a good thing. And for certainly how I'm going to raise my children, there's no way I want to just funnel them through to university or pay for their education or encourage them to go unless they really know what they want to do. And if they don't, there's nothing wrong with waiting. We tell young people they have to have their together and they have to know where they want to go. Bro, I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was 25. And most people don't. Most people, if they think they do or they're pretending, they end up realizing later on that they're in a dead-end job that they never want to do, but because it's linked to their major.
And then what happens? Then you get burnout. Then after that, you get all that. You know what? It's a cycle. It's a cycle.
It's sad.
You get burnout. You get all of this depression and everything and stuff because of one thing that was pressured to you, and you think it's normal because it's just all around you and it's just normal. Everything and everyone is being pressured. You're being pressured, but then again, it happens boom, this happens, and you just feel bad about yourself.
Yep.
But that's what it is. They groom you into thinking that. There's no point of learning everything that I learned, learning all the things that I learned in math if I'm not going to become a mathematician or I'm not going to work for NASA or whatever.
Yeah.
And you should go in that field and experiment that when you get there, when you get to that field. You understand what I'm saying?
High school does not prepare you for adulthood or outside of anything outside of passing exams for university. None of the skill sets or most of the skill sets that I learned in high school were not applicable to my adult life once I left school.
I know what
So they
Pythagoras
pretty much
is.
are just funneling me down a thing where I can pass a university exam.
Where you can pay. They're grooming you to be able to pay later on, but not grooming you for life.
Yep.
So I'm gonna be able to know what Pythagoras is and what pi stands for, 3.1413, whatever. Why do I know this? But I had to learn how to balance my taxes. Thank God my mom was working in finance. I had to, like, my mom took my hand and be like, okay, we gonna do your taxes. And I'm like, aren't you the one that's gonna do your taxes? No, you need to learn that. But I was privileged that having a mom that took my hand and worked in that field.
Yep.
But they groom you to go to CJEP, to go to college, to go to university, to pay up, but not groom you for life.
Yep.
You can't balance your taxes. You don't know law. I remember I had to go to my 5th grade of high school, and I had to choose a class, a complimentary class, and I was starting to look like a man and getting pulled over by the police. So I took a law class, and after I got out of that law class, I realized everybody should take that class. This shouldn't be something that you pick and choose. You should know about law. You should know about money. You should know about credit. You should know about food. You should know about all that. But no, how to calculate one side of a triangle. Never have I used that shit.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of questions to be asked. Why don't we learn how to drive? Why don't we learn how to cook? Why don't we learn how to balance budgets? So many essential skills as adults that people don't learn to later on into life until there's already been ramifications for not knowing that. Like, to me, it's such a sad state. Still, that's a lot of people just constantly switching or feeling or dropping out altogether.
You didn't have any pressure when growing up? You didn't feel that?
I did, but you know how I am, right? How stubborn am I?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You didn't give a
Yeah, my mom got excited. She saw I had good grades. I had some university acceptances. I said, Mom, you want me to go to university? How about I drop out of high school? And I dropped out. So you can imagine the disgust on her face.
You're a piece of shit. But I like it.
Oh, yeah.
I remember my parents were into it because everything was about academics, right?
Right.
My parents told me and my sister, they told me the first person who becomes a doctor, we're gonna pay him a Cadillac.
Right.
And I'm like, this not fair.
Right.
This is 3 years over, 3 years and a half older than me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And on top of that, like, I already failed classes. I got left back. My sister jumped one, and I'm like, oh wow, oh, we gonna do me like that? So, and even then, elementary school, they were always like, the last years of elementary school, they were like, these is your most important years because it's gonna decide how you're gonna be in high school. I get to high school. These are the most important years because it is going to determine everything you're going to go in college. I get to college, nobody gives a
Nobody.
No teacher really gives a You're left alone and you don't know what you're going to become for the rest of your life.
Yep. The thing is, I'm not trying to downplay the importance of higher education. Like, obviously, I want a doctor who's gone through his rigorous training and went through university and did all that. Like, I don't want some doctor from the Academy of Bro Science, right? Like, I want somebody who went to McGill's.
All right, dude, listen, dude. So now what's going on is that, you kind of have an infection.
Exactly.
So we're going to, like, sort of cut your spleen.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and cut you open because we're gonna slice you up. I don't want no doctor to be like, all right, bro, we're gonna slice you up.
Right.
Remove that shit, bag it if you want. We get it to you. You know what I mean? Take a little picture with it. Sew you back in, and then you're good to go. Cool.
Hey, nigga, is your asshole falling out? Pick it up with a garbage bag. Let's go. We need a doctor. Like, I don't want to do none of that. But all I'm trying to say is this, man. I think there can be a middle ground. Jubilee. I think.
Get the f out. Take all your shit. Get the f out. This was a perfectly fine video. No, I'm saying take all your shit and get the f out. It was a perfectly fine video. You had to bring Jubilee in this shit.
What are you saying? That now just because I said Jubilee, you want to cut me?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Nah, that's corny. That's corny.
That's corny.
But yeah, I really do think there could be a middle ground in that regards, and I think you can find a happy space between, you know, understanding that higher education is something that people should seriously consider, and also not handing out student loans like it's cotton candy at the state fair. Feel me?
There you go.
All right? There shouldn't be that easy for me to access without me knowing the ramifications that if you maybe had taught me about what debt looks like, what an unforgivable loan looks like, then maybe I would understand when I make that choice. But you don't do that. And that's the problem I have with the approach. It almost feels like a bait and switch. And so schools play a part in this. Our government plays a part in this. Society does by overvaluing education all the time and higher education and not putting enough emphasis on important life skills that they just expect us to learn on our own randomly, which most people don't. Most people don't know how to make a budget.
Nope.
Most people don't know how important it is to manage your credit until you've already fucked it up a little bit. So find that middle ground. Find that middle ground because we're sacrificing a lot of our potential talent and youth. And that's the sad part. So I see people struggling with their student debt, and I think it's sad. People are leaving, running away from their countries, and it's just like...
I remember when they was like, well, you could do a trade job, but they were really like, yeah, you could go and trade, but whatever. And you could. If it's your thing, it's your thing. But there was a kind of a shame around trade jobs and trade school where it's like, you could, but whatever. Go to college and university. That's a better choice in life. It's like, no, that's not like that. I know some successful people that are doing successful.
Yep.
So, yeah, success is not necessarily being a doctor. I mean, good for you if you are. That's great. It's totally great. But it's not necessarily that. And yeah, it is what it is.
And guys, you know, if you're listening to this and you haven't made that decision yet of whether you want to go or not, like, take your time. Don't let anybody rush you. I don't care what your parents say. I don't care what society says. I know it's tough to try to say no to all of that, but understand it's ultimately your life. You're the one who's going to have to pay that debt. You're the one who's going to have to struggle with that.
It's not right.
And even though the wide world is not there to give you a path to walk on to figure out how to get experience in what you want to do, there are options out there. There are ways to get it done. So one thing I always like to do is I like to bet on myself. I'll figure it out. I'm going to try things.
Yeah.
And if I fail along the way, that's fine, but at least I did it my way. So I recommend that for most folks. And if that's something that you consider, I encourage it. And if you're struggling with student debts, I feel your pain. Well, not literally because I'm not in debt, but I feel for you. I feel for you. It's wrong. It's really wrong. A lot of folks were done dirty. I think the only thing we can do is just try to teach our kids differently.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's all. If the system's not going to change, then we have to change the way we operate with our families. So why don't you guys leave your comments below? We want to hear about mistakes you made with the major that you picked and whether or not you regret it. Man, the amount of people I know right now who are in the middle of a major and don't want to finish it, but they're already 2 years in.
They already paid so much. It's not so much because they want to finish it. You gave so much. You already, like, the debt is not going to go away. And having that debt, you know, you're 2 years in, you have 1 year left, you're in the middle of the year, you want to give up, but I mean, if you give up right now, at least, well, there's not at least, you give up right now, you still got a debt, but you don't have a diploma. So if you force yourself to at least have a diploma and have a debt that had, man, it's crazy. It's just crazy out here.
It's crazy, man.
They groom you to pay later. That's what it is. They groom you to milk you. That's crazy.
And they're 18, bro.
Yup.
Sad. But anyways, that's it for today's video. If you guys have any ideas, leave them in the comments below. That's it.
Mira como toma, lo toma morena, rico que se mira morena, mira como huele.